Okay, I'll call to order the July 9th meeting of the Public Affairs Committee. And we'll start with item 1, the receipt of reports from the month of June. There were property maintenance, parks and rec, and public information. So first, I'll just give a big thanks for all the heavy lifting that each of those departments do. A lot of it is not taken for granted, and especially as others have mentioned, with the storms, communications needed for that. This being very heavy Parks and Rec season, pools, all the different initiatives. So thank you all for that. We'll just go in order. If there's anything in particular that staff wants to highlight in the property maintenance report.
I'll kick it off, Commissioner.
Okay, Parks and Rec. Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for those words. The reality is it's a total team effort at all times, whether it's my staff, Alan's staff, Public Works, whether it's Bo's guys or Bob's guys, as well as Lauren helping get word out with pool closures and making things accessible or picking up trees, fixing fences, whatever. No one does it alone. So while we gladly accept the accolades, like, please know that everyone is responsible for it. But we do appreciate it. Also, I'd just like to add, I think I missed it on last week's meeting, but we did get 9 new park signs installed thanks to a grant that we received prior to my arrival. We were able to finally get that lifted. If all goes according to plan through budget season, we can get the final 2 parks done at Grove and at High School Park, and that'll be that. It'll be formalized fully across the township. So with that being said, I'll accept any questions on my report. If not, I'll kick it to Alan.
Thank you. I do have.
Okay.
I do have.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can you provide an update on the Conklin pool and let people know, like, more so why it was shut down for a couple of days?
Yeah. So the longer delay was due to a mudslide from the hill above the pool that went into the pool and left about a half an inch of mud in there. That took us a good 2 days to clean up. Alan's group, as well as the lifeguards and the managers, were there, I would say 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. vacuuming and cleaning. We shut the filters down for a little bit, let everything settle, vacuumed again, and we're finally able to kick it on to get part of the pool open for 4th of July, and then we open it fully on Saturday. Today's closing was due to a power outage, nothing we can do without filters or pumps to get chlorine into the pool. So that was resolved by about 3 or 3:30. So again, acts of nature, not anything maintenance related, just, Mother Nature doing her thing.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted it to be on the record.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Chirico.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hey, Mr. Salvatore, thanks so much for kicking off the summer with a bang. I guess that's not actual literally because we didn't do fireworks, but we did a drone show, which was fantastic. I'm curious if you can give us an update on the 3 views with Brews with a View that we have had so far this summer, as far as our how many people are attending? Is the township making some money off of this? And how has this gone since we started in early June or late June?
Yeah, so the Grove Park event, the peak attendance was just about 450 individuals. That includes adults and children watching the concert as well as enjoying the beer garden. The event at Renninger is a little harder to gauge because it was a come and go event due to the magnitude of the day. We estimate somewhere around 1,000 people through the course of that day. And then the event at Robinson drew about 350 between All Hallows and Robinson, being kind of a split campus there. It was a little bit of a weird setup, but it did work, having the beer garden in the park and the activities in the park and the concert at the church really worked out. So those are the numbers. The agreement is 15% of sales, which is about $175 to $200 per event so far, which is a good start. Again, our first blush at it, I think we look at the agreement or the RFP next year and try and bump it up a little bit. But as far as the attendance goes and the success of it, I would say that the data indicates that it's been successful.
And is this successful for the ways as well? I mean, is this because obviously we rely on a company like this, a brewery like this, to make themselves available and do this. Is this a thing that they are seeing value from as well?
Yeah, if our cut is between $175 and $200 an event, their cut is significant. Their staffing costs are low. They brought in an additional bartender for it, which is nice. But in talking to Tim, the owner of the Ways, he did mention to me that he was surprised at the outpouring of folks that came out to each event. He was not expecting those numbers. As a matter of fact, the Robinson Park event was so successful that 3 of the 6 taps kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So one kind of feedback, I think I've been to 2 of the 3 of them and really enjoy them. And I think it's just great for the township to have this. And I've heard so many great comments from the community. The one thing that I did hear, and this is not a reflection on anyone, I just think it's overall, it's just something that we have to maybe be more mindful of is how to get the word out about the events like the drone show and the concerts and the brews. And I know we put it out there. I'm not disagreeing, but I think maybe with the help of maybe with Lauren or you, or maybe we can come up with ways to make sure that this is repeated. And maybe listen, I've put out there to people that you should set the alerts on your Facebook or Instagram. So every time Cheltenham Township posts something, you are notified. And I think that might be helpful. But either way, if some people complain that they didn't hear about the drone show and things like that, I just want to make sure that everyone does know as much as possible. And so any sort of creative ways that we can get the word out, I think would be valuable. And that's
that's not lost on us as well. If you reference our report, you'll see that our membership on RecDesk has grown dramatically since last summer. We're up around 2,000 active members on RecDesk, so it's 2,000 more people getting our communications.
Great.
Lauren does a great job pushing out on social media, text alerts, and email. But I think the more people we can drive to create RecDesk accounts or to join, the text alerts or the email blasts, it would be helpful. As well as you all helping on your social media platforms to push it out as well. I think that would be great. There's always going to be folks who miss out on it because we're not putting flyers up at supermarkets. Like those days are probably over. So we'll miss that percentage of the public, and we just have to continue to engage and do our best to get as many people there as possible.
Yeah, maybe do it. Maybe you're right. Maybe a reminder to set up your account on RecDesk maybe that's a good reminder to put out there. And but thank you, great job, and really just so pleased with everything that's going on in the township this summer. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sigmund-Feld.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Bill, question for you, and then I want to ask you a question of Lauren. Bill, the condition of the shape of the playing fields, particularly with the amount of weather that we've been having. I know that there have been a couple of inquiries that came my way about, what maintenance is being done when we're having so many serious weather events and that kind of thing. So I'm just wondering if you can give us kind of a status of things like Ogon's Field and some of the other fields that are actively, in demand, but maybe because of the weather are not getting the typical maintenance that they would normally get.
Yeah, so Bob's crew, which again is small but mighty, it's Bob plus 4, I believe. They do their best to get to every park and every field on their schedule, right? Knowing that one day a week, I believe they get pulled for trash. So that takes one day away from field and turf maintenance. Anytime we get a weather event, whether it's rain, means they can't drag or mow a field, or a rain event that leads to trees being down, their first priority is to respond to that. And if we have 3 or 4 bad days in a row, number one, the field's got to dry up before you can drag it. And secondly, their priority is always going to be to clear paths and the safe spaces for people and for kids to play. I think it's just a bad situation anytime we have multiple days of poor weather that they get bogged down. Maybe in the future, there's an opportunity to have more parks maintenance staff to assist with that, or a dedicated field maintenance crew. I don't know. I'm kind of ripping here, but, knowing that there's a need to use these playing fields, especially with Little League going on and, softball leagues and whatever else, it's important to get them up and manageable.
Thank you. Not a criticism, just a question.
No,
But from
understood.
people that use the fields. Yep.
Yep.
Lauren, I did have a question for you. I saw in your report, you did a summary of the number of right to know requests. Year to date, 72. And I'd like you to kind of describe what's involved in those, because it's not just a significant financial cost. There's also significant time demands and issues associated with it. But I think, people don't understand just what's entailed in one of those. And we have some people that abuse the system and insist on those for all kinds of, let's say, less than public-minded reasons. So if you wouldn't mind, whether it's you or Commissioner Elliott, whoever wants to take that one on.
Sure. It's hard to give you a full picture because they do range across all of the departments. Planning and zoning, Bob Habgood addresses direct zoning right to know requests, and then Joe O'Neill for the police department. But for everything else, I am the liaison to other department heads and other staff. This comes from anything to financial records to permits. I get frequent ones for permits, so we pull them. Those are fairly simple, and then I get very much more involved ones. Part of the right to know is that we are not the requester doesn't need to tell us why they're asking for what they're asking for. So some of them can be more complicated and more time consuming in that way, more extensive. And some of them end up involving our legal counsel when we need guidance to some of those effects. And then another one that I see frequently is they're requesting liens, open code violations, and our response to that, we have a separate form for that, and it does entail a fee and processing through the planning and zoning and building and codes department. So we direct those requesters to that form.
So that's distributed across various departments. Of those 72, which percentage are the nuisance and the ones that really entail a great deal more effort, that are usually more malicious than constructive in their design?
I would say maybe about 30%.
Okay.
I spent my entire morning this morning on right to know requests, actually of that nature.
Thank you. I think it's it's an unfair burden that we are legally obligated to do in a climate where there's lots of regulatory requirements on us that aren't necessarily reasonable or reflect good governance. Thanks, Lauren, and appreciate what you did there. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Yeah, just to follow up, I think there may be also some misunderstanding among the public about what qualifies as a right to know. And from what I understand, and please staff correct me if I'm wrong, you're not obligated by law to create files that do not already exist. And I think that's part of where the problem is. We need to make sure that our public is educated to right to know is merely right to access what's already a public record. Right?
That's correct. The spirit of the law is transparency of public records. And as you said, we're not required
You're not
to create
the secretaries to the
and it's not
to
to
the
answer
public.
questions. It's if they're asking for a very specific record, we must produce the record.
Right.
Even if it's many pages, many files, but it's not supposed to be used to just dig around. I
Right.
think that we do a great job as staff to really uphold that spirit of the law and that transparency. And it's unfortunate when some requesters take a denial of a record existing to to be out of good faith, where I do my very best to do a good faith search for
Right.
records.
Right. And a search is one thing, recreation or a creative creation is something else. So thank you. Commissioner Arnold, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to sort of go back to something that Commissioner Cherico raised about getting the word out about our summer events and that sort of thing. And while I know our focus is and should be predominantly right here in Cheltenham, I think an untapped potential area to draw people into Cheltenham is sort of getting the word out somehow. I don't know how you do it. I leave that to Ms. Walter and Mr. Salvatore, to some of our neighbors in Abington, Jenkintown, Springfield. I ran into a number of folks who were coming in for the parade who were from Abington, the Abington side or Springfield, and were really interested in the summer programming that we were doing. And I think drawing people in from these surrounding communities may not only make our events more successful, but sort of highlight Cheltenham and what we do otherwise in our local businesses and et cetera. So perhaps that's an untapped market that we may want to look at.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're still on item 1, the receipt of those first 3 reports. Anybody have anything else on that?
Yes, I would
Yeah,
like
go
to.
ahead.
I would like to add to my report, you saw brief updates about work done behind the scenes on the branding project. So we did select another agency called Matter. They have successfully branded a city of a similar size and nature to ours. So we liked their work, and we're excited to see them design some logos to bring for selection before this committee at one of the fall public affairs meetings. So that contract has just been started just this month. And to add to the earlier comment from Commissioner Cherico and Mr. Salvatore, just about some of those opportunities to get the word out, I really do think as Parks and Rec continues to pick up steam, I just want to commend Bill and the team on all of their efforts and the great things that we have going on. I really think that just starts to snowball on itself, and we may see a point in the near future where Parks and Rec kind of can have another channel of social media, but it's not just about that. It's about the neighbors realizing that we have cool stuff going on, and the more they know that, the more they want to plug in, follow those alerts, make their rec desk accounts, and find out for themselves what we have going on. I mean, we can put all that information out there and people don't see it if they don't want to see it or don't want to pick up their newsletter. But the more that they start to say, hey, I missed out on something, they'll be there next year.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and take a motion to receive those 3 reports.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2, the receipt of the minutes for the Historical Commission, June 12th. Any comments? Take a motion to receive. I'll move it. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody else sleeping, or am I hearing? Okay. Item 3, receipt of the staff meeting minutes from June 24th. I actually had 2 comments or questions on that, or comments on that. One was I was glad to see that there is a committee now planning the volunteer recognition event that I asked for. I'd actually like to be involved in that just to be sure it is, some of the things that I had envisioned.
Oh, did she freeze?
I think she froze. I
We
can
lost
jump
Ken
in.
too. Hopefully she didn't lose power.
I can jump in real quick on that in case Anna's listening. Yes, we will absolutely include Anne in the planning, and I think we're working on some of the dates. So we'll, as soon as we have something nailed down, we will move forward with planning. Who's our vice chair? Commissioner Cherico, do you want to take over?
Sure. Let's throw me in fire. All right. So we are up to the twinning committee. We're up to the twinning committee. There was no meeting for the Economic Development Task Force or the Civil Rights Task Force meeting. All right. So we did this receipt of staff minutes she was talking about. All those in favor of, I guess, approving those or accepting them?
Aye.
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 All right, let's go to old business. 4A, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 295, zoning of the Cheltenham Township Code, Section 405, categories of permitted uses to amend requirements for use A18, accessory solar systems, and use B20, personal care business uses. And then a list of the following sections regarding permitted uses with respect to personal care business uses. Section 230.1E, general parking regulations for personal care business uses, and 2601.A, front yard projections to exempt steps and balconies from front yard projection restrictions, and see attached. Manager Elliott, do you want to, or someone else want to talk about this?
I can jump in, and I see Mr. Sekowongo is here as well.
Oh, okay, all right. Sorry about
this that. This is an ordinance that oh, it looks like the solar systems was not removed from this write-up. So it does not include the solar system section. So it's just the personal care business uses. So
okay,
if you want to jump in.
Yeah, thank you, Manager Elliott and Vice Chair. Again, this is an ordinance that has been on the books with different reiterations specific to separation distances for personal care businesses. We came to a determination based on some of the applications that were coming in that we needed to eliminate these separation distances so as to promote economic development in our community, just provide it as an incentive, because a lot of the uses coming through more or less personal care businesses. So this effort is to eliminate the separation distances. Some of the other things related to projections and elimination of some of the things that delineated are really more to clean up the ordinance as written. But that's pretty much the summary of the ordinance before you.
all right.
And this will be going before the board as part of a public meeting at the next board meeting.
Sure. Thank you. Any questions by any of the commissioners? All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Any
As
other
amended.
as amended? Yes, of course. Any other old business before we go on to new business? All right, I guess that's a no. Moving on to new business, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners concur with the Montgomery County Consortium heating oil bid awarded by the Upper Gwinnett Township Board of Commissioners on June 9th, 2025 to Rhodes Energy for the provision of number 2 heating oil in the amount of $3,665 per delivered gallon beginning August 1st, 2025 to July 31st, 2026. See the attachment. Any questions or explanation?
Can jump in with that real quick. So this is part of our consortium program where we work together with other municipalities to gain better bid prices. Heating oil, salt, and leaf bags are some of the other ones that we participate in. So Rose Energy, I don't believe we've used them in the past, won the bid this year. And this is to provide heating oil to Glenside Library and our tax office.
Thank you. And let me make a clarification and a correction. That was not $3,665. That was $3.66 6.5 cents or so. That is why I need readers. So thank you. Any other questions by the commissioners? I look so young. I just can't imagine having to wear them, right? Any questions from commissioners about this? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any other new business, commissioners? Nope.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Oh,
back.
there's the hand.
and
I'm back, and I do actually have some other new business.
all right.
Thank you for taking over. I was knocked off. Our power went out for a little while. At Thomas Williams Park, I understand the park friends are eager to continue working on the area between Woodland and the park, and are concerned about all the knotweed. They've tried to knock it out, but they need to work with, I guess, Public Works. They thought they wanted to work with the Parks and Rec, and that's why I think they contacted them on the email. But at any rate, I think if we could coordinate, I know how busy everybody is just doing the basic cleanup from all the storms. But if we could get in touch, or have the committee liaise with you all on following up, so that it's not just them knocking out the knotweed, but some applications of whatever is necessary chemically, and that kind of thing.
Commissioner, Bob Dominic did respond to the email today. We're doing
Okay, I didn't see it.
We're doing a walkthrough with the Park Friends group next week.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Really appreciate that. Commissioner Chirico, are you happy to leave the meeting? The rest of it to me. I'll call on Commissioner Brockington. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted, this is sort of a solemn note. A friend of mine, a friend of the township, Mr. Ron Camp, passed away recently. For those of you who don't know, Ron ran the Cheltenham Little League probably for 20 to 25 years as president of the Little League program. And I just wanted to acknowledge him and his family, let him know that they're in our prayers. And I do plan to attend his service on Saturday at Presentation BBM. Thank you.
Right, and thank you for that notification. Please send the township and the commissioners' condolences to his family.
Will do.
And let them know how much he meant to so many people. Yeah, Commissioner Lewis.
Yes, my condolences, Commissioner Brockington, and if you like, or if the family would like, I can get a Senate condolence for you guys, or for the family. All I need is a obituary. It doesn't have to be a printed obituary, just the words would be enough.
All right, I'll try to work on that and I'll reach out to you.
Actually, I wasn't aware that you all do that. And last week, of course, a former employee of the township did have his viewing in memorial. And I will send that information, because this was a long time employee of the township. And that actually does happen, unfortunately, with great frequency. And it's good to know that is available. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm sorry I missed the accessory solar systems. I had a few comments on that. I can do them offline. All right.
Commissioner Rappaport, the accessory solar systems, planetary or panel wise, were not included in the ordinance. It was a typo in the agenda. Just I think maybe you did miss that part.
I sure did. And I was also concerned actually about the 36-inch exception for things like walkways and steps. And I thought that probably needs revision, because certainly we know that stairways projecting from the front of many homes goes beyond 36 inches, projecting outward. So depending on the level, how many steps, what kind of hill it is, you talk about projections being 25 feet. So, I'm concerned about that. We can, perhaps staff can look at that. Legal could look at that between now and next week. Okay. Any other new business for public affairs? Okay, Citizens Forum for Public Affairs. I see Ms. Melton's hand. Go
Hi,
ahead.
hi. I think Emily had her hand raised also.
Okay, well, okay, I see her now in the line, so
Oh, there
I'll
she goes.
recognize her as well, but
Okay.
you're up now.
Just very briefly, Commissioner Brockington, I want to thank you for calling me back and leaving me the message. And I'm sorry that I didn't get back to you, but I understood your message of why I called. I was very concerned about that issue of this gentleman and his emails. Henry, if you don't mind, sometimes you can explain things to me in a way that I can understand it. And maybe you and I can talk about this personal care home exemption so that I don't have to say too much at the commissioners meeting. I think you're right, we're having more people asking for that, and some are in residential communities, so I'm just a little concerned. The other thing, and I'll say this to everyone, most people know, or some people don't know, that I have Chelsea Chats. It's been around for 17 years. I was always told, and a man told me this, when you want something told, you telegram, you telephone, you tell a woman. I have been asked before to just send out information. Chelsea Chats does not send or share email. It's just an email list. And trust and believe, it started with Lamont, but now it has went out to people in Jenkintown, people in Abington, might even be a couple of news papers and stuff. So if anyone has, for instance, they were talking about the Cheltenham Fire Company. I don't remember getting a flyer, but if you send me an email, I will send out a Chelsea Chats to the rest of the township and everyone to get more people involved, because that's what Chelsea Chats started, to get them involved. And you see, they still don't come to meetings, but they'll come to a party. I'll do that. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. And yes, we'll start sending things to Chelsea Chats and courtesy of you. So thank you very much.
Oh, and I
All
did
right.
send one out for Saturdays.
Right, we
Okay.
saw it. Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, Ms. Stein, go ahead.
Just real quick, I wanted to thank everybody for the township calendar that came out, and that I particularly enjoyed the items on page 4 entitled Cheltenham Living Locally. I'm hoping that the messages there are incorporated into the branding, because to me, that's how we should be selling ourselves. And then just one other comment about getting the word out about things. I think we may reach people better in other communities if we make our Facebook not just posts, but events. I think that those can maybe be a little bit of a pain to manage, but as people indicate interest in them, it is shown to their friends who don't necessarily live in the township or follow the township. And so that may get a greater reach on that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Very constructive, thank you. Mr. Gorbachev.
Good evening. So I start with that I live within 300 feet from Wall Park. And on July 5th, on Saturday at 9 a.m., I was awakened by loud drum sounds. As it turned out, the township rented Wall Park to an organization called Drum Corps. And what followed that day was 12 hours of intense music rehearsal. There were drums and tubas and bullhorns and other musical instruments making a lot of noise. And that rehearsal continued into the next day and took good half of the day. The sounds from that event, they were not just audible in my yard, they were clearly heard inside my home with windows closed. So we contacted the police, we reached out to Commissioner Chirico, and we also reached out to Director of Parks and Recreation, Bill Salvatore. I would like to thank each and everyone for quick reaction. And actually, Commissioner Chirico suggested that I come to this meeting and voice my concerns about that noise. Although Mr. Salvatore tried to address the issue and asked the group to move further away from nearby homes, which initially they did, but then later they came back, so it didn't really solve any problem and noise returned. And police refused to enforce anything, although they responded quickly. And they explained that they could not intervene because the township made a rental agreement with that group. I think core issue that I would like everyone to be aware of, that Wall Park is not a very suitable venue for music-based events, especially ones that involve loud instruments or amplified sounds, because whenever there is a concert, whenever there is the rehearsal that happened there, we hear that. With concert that lasts maybe a few hours, but with rehearsal that was full day of music. So this park has very open layout and it's very near to residential homes. That makes these kind of events very acoustically intrusive. So we never hear kids playing there. We never hear any sporting events or games or tennis or whatever else. But whenever it's amplified concert, whenever it's drums, it goes right into the house. Under our code, musical instruments should not be plainly audible beyond 150 feet. So the rental agreement, in my understanding, should not override the code and cause a full day disturbance to residents. So I respectfully urge this committee to reconsider the use of Wall Park for music rehearsals and various music events with amplified music. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gorbachev. First of all, I am sorry that you were disturbed for a full day and a half. And I don't know that we'll be able to answer now, but we'll definitely look into it and have further discussions. So thank you for your.
I'm happy to address, Commissioner, if you'd like.
If you're prepared to do so, sure, go ahead.
1000%. I worked on it all weekend. We had a group of residents reach out a few months back for a rehearsal space for their band with national competition upcoming this weekend, and they were really stuck for a location. They originally asked for Renninger Park, and I said absolutely not, knowing the close proximity to the houses. I said the best bet, knowing on the isolated space, would be Wall Park, knowing we do have houses on Cheltenham Hills and across Church Road, but I felt like there was enough of a buffer. We kept things back towards the train tracks so that it would not cause a disturbance. And sadly, I was mistaken. So we will not make that mistake in the future. It's just one of those one-off things that we're trying to do good by the community and doing good by giving access to our space. And it turned out to be, while entertaining for the 40 or 50 individuals who drove down there to see the final performance, for local residents who dealt with it for, the better part of 18 hours, it was not. So.
Thank you, Fro.
Oh, she froze.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're frozen. I'm I'm the
You're
one who's
frozen.
I'm the one who's frozen. All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And
Let me just step in. Do you mind if I?
Sure, go right ahead.
Listen, I sympathize with Mr. Gorbachev's situation, as you know. I instructed him to, or requested that he come here and speak. I also don't think that the board should take such a drastic step, and I wouldn't. I should say I would not be supportive of a drastic step to stop any sort of amplified music at Wall Park. I think that would be a mistake. I don't think we should reconsider holding our concert series there, right? Like, I think that there are festivals there. So I appreciate Mr. Gorbachev's situation, and you know, I obviously respect and concern for what he went through. But I also think that we need to be mindful too that music does play an important role in our communities, and it plays an important role, can play an important role by bringing people to places like Wall Park. So I think that there perhaps is a balance to be struck here, but I would make sure that we don't swing the other way to not have any sort of this happening in our parks.
Well, from what I'm hearing, and granted, I didn't hear the whole thing, it does sound like this may have to be a case-by-case situation, and we need to be mindful of what those circumstances are and maybe discuss them prior. Yeah, Mr. Salvatore, looks like you're not finished.
I would just like to add one more thing. You know, we had a concert at Grove Park, which is really close to houses. But the fact that there's a friends group associated with Grove Park made it palatable, and the community was fully informed, right? We do push out the concert series and other things, but if Mr. Gorbachev or others local to Wall Park would like to assist with forming a friends group or being engaged in that process, I think we would welcome it. You know, the more engaged citizens around parks, the better, so that everyone can know what's going on and they can have a seat at the table when these things occur.
Okay, thank you again. Any other citizens forum for public affairs? I'll move for adjournment.
She froze.
How about this? All those in favor?
All in favor of
I'm going to
adjournment?
move for an adjournment.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.